letters in pencil, some of them as heavy as lead, as dated as carbon, as black as coal, but burning as red. Clues faintly stenciled. The message, though bleached, is unread. As secret as marble, as young, as old, as living, as dead, and always that laugh that comes as though it's from pain. Though I'm lashed to the mast, still it hammers round my brain. Laughter in the backbone, laughter impossibly wise, that same laughter that comes every time I flash on that look in your eyes, which whispers of a black zone, which will mock all my credos as lies, where all logic is done, and time will smash every theory I devise, and the hourglass is shattered only by the magic of your touch, and where nothing really matters. No, nothing matters very much. So the Siren Song runs through the ages, and it courses through my veins like champagne, and with all the sweet kisses of addiction, it's calling me to break my bonds again. Future memory exploding like shrapnel. Some splinters escape on my tongue, some of them scar comprehension. Beneath the scab they burn, but the wound becomes numb. And always the song draws me forward, rejoicing in the search and the prayer, poured with all but the mad, the strange, the freak, the impossible dare. Still your laugh chills my marrow till I embrace it on my knees. Oh, when the mast becomes a flagpole, what becomes of me? A second Mariner song with interruptions. That first song, the Siren one, is about Odysseus himself. Palinurus was the helmsman. I'm looking for a white note to consolidate the key, like the pilot of a night boat in a strange, uncharted sea. Palinurus, as unsure as he can be of his direction. Hell, this section's all Greek to me. There's so much I had to mention. It seems to slip my mind. Still, I swear that my intentions never left my hopes behind, like a captain who's been trapped in the blind eye of the whirlwind, so returns in search of the divine. I've got no answers either. I've got some stories on lucky days. Oh, the sea lanes are crowded with people like us, castaways. From soprano through to basso, my voice so strains to tell, but I'm lost in the sargasso of ideas that didn't gel by a fraction, so the action is dispelled. Me, I've got dull reactions, protraction of doubt as well, so it's no more abide with me, over the side with me. I know that damn well. This humpback of emotion, it all seems to go so fast. One moment prince of the ocean, and the next upon the raft.
Everything out of order. Everything too well produced from the conjurer's hats. Let's turn on the juice to grind the cutting plane, the blade that gives an edge to scale the mountain, to fail upon the mountain ledge. But halfway up is halfway peaking. The stroboscope locks the lathe. I look around for a switch in phase. The disco boom stands firm. The 8-track's in. The rage licks the present. Quickly flicks the future page. Check the deck. No mark cards. No sequential straight or flush. The dice won't still the bloodline rush. Run the star flood night. The cutthroat blade is struck. Race your shadow. Race in case your shadow stops. Everything's so out of order. No bias on the playback head. Papers for the border. All the tape is red. The future burns my tongue. The noise gates all are shut. Breathe the vacuum. Believe there's reason in the cut. Incipient white noise. The stylus barely tracks. The air controllers feed the stereo sonic smack. Now another ghost or fright story. This one hops about between the dimensions and the times. It's called Fogwalking. Everything clumsy slow motion. I look for the source. Buildings loom up like icebergs on collision course. I don't want to go in there. I just want to be alone, to unpick the stitches of time in London, in the no-go zone. I've been kicking around like a dog, lost myself in the blank mass of fog. That's some kind of service. All humanity's fallout is there, slumped in doorways and mouthing cold air. I have heard this. Fogwalking. Fogwalking. Since the curfew, the streets are half dead. All the good folk are asleep in their beds. It's so easy to go off the rails when the fog spores are breeding inside my head. Fogwalking. There's a presence that I sense. Fogwalking. The neck muscles tense. Fogwalking. It's right here inside me. Try to find a defense. Oh no. Fogwalking through the wreckage. Fogwalking through the worm-eaten night apple. Fogwalking through what used to be Whitechapel. And now, finally, the ultimate sleepwalk. At night, this mindless army, ranks unbroken by dissent, is moved into action, and the pace does not relent. In step with great precision, these dancers of the night advance against the darkness. How implacable their might, eyes undulled by moon, their arms and legs akimbo, they walk and live, hoping soon to surface from this limbo. Their minds, anticipating the dawn of the day, shall never know what's waiting mere insight away. It's too far. It's too soon. Senses dimmed in semi-sentience, only wheeling through this plane, only seeing fragmented images prematurely curtailed by the brain, but breathing, living, knowing in some measure at least the soul which roots the matter of both beauty and the beast. From what tooth or claw does murder spring? From what flesh and blood does passion? Both cut through the air with a pendulum swing in deadly but delicate fashion. And every range of feeling is there in the dream. And every logic's reeling in the force of the scream that senses sting. And though I may be dreaming and reality stalls, I only know the meaning of sight, and that's all, and that's nothing. The chorus of the night advance, infectiously their cryptic dance gathers converts to the fold. In time the whole raw world will pace these same steps on into the same bitter end. Somnolent muster. Now the dancing dead forsake the shelter of their secure beds, awaken to a slumber whose depths they dread, as if the ground they tread would give way beneath the solemn weight of their conception. I'd search the hidden corners of this world, make reason of the sensory whirl, if I only had time. But soon, the dream is ended. Wake up! Wake up! Tonight, before you lay down, to the sweetness of your sleep, do you question your surrender to that drop from lover's leap? Or does the anesthetic darkness take hold on its very own? Does your body rise in service with not one dissenting groan? These waking dreams of life and death in the mirror are twisted and buckled. Lashes flicker, a catch of breath, skin whitening at the knuckles. The army of sleepwalkers shake their limbs and are loose. And though I am a talker, I can phrase no excuse not to rise again. In the chorus of the nighttime I belong, and I, like you, must dance to that moonlight song. And in the end, I too must pay the cost of this life. If all is lost, then none is known. But how could we lose what we've never owned? I'd search out every knowledge I could find, unravel all the mysteries of mine, if I only had time. If I only had time. But soon, my time is ended.
All the things that I'm going to read are song lyrics, which obviously have had a degree of word work put into them as well. And so in theory they should stand simply by themselves. First of them is about a mystery character from history called Palinurus, who was the helmsman of Odysseus on the Odyssey. And having cocked up a few voyages, he was eventually tossed off the boat. This is his story. I'm looking for a white note to consolidate the key, like the pilot of a night boat in a strange, uncharted sea, Palinurus, as unsure as he can be of his direction. Hell, this section's all Greek to me. There's so much I had to mention, but it seemed to slip my mind. And still I swear that my intentions never left my hopes behind. Like the captain who's been trapped in the blind eye of the whirlwind, still I turn in search of the divine. I've got no answers either. I've got some stories on lucky days. The sea lanes are crowded with people like us, castaways. From soprano through to basso, my voice so strains to tell. But I'm lost in the sargasso of ideas that didn't gel by a fraction, so the action is dispelled. Me, I've got dull reactions, protraction of doubt as well. So it's no more abide with me, over the side with me. I know that damn well, this humpback of emotion. It all seems to go so fast. One moment, Prince of the ocean, and the next, upon the raft. Dark towers in the distance, riders cross the blasted moor against the horizon. Fickle promises of treaty, fatal harbingers of war, futile horizons swirl as one in this flight, this mad chase, this surge across the marshy mud landscape until the meaning is forgotten. Hood masks the eager face, skin stretched and sallow, headlong into the chilling night, as swift as any arrow. Feet against the flagstones, fingers scrabbling at the lock, craving protection. Sanctuary, croaks a voice, half strangled by the shock of its rejection. Shot the bolt against the wall, rusted the key. Now the echoes of all frightful memory intrude in the silence. What a crawl against the slope. Dark loom the gallows. Just one touch to the chapel door. How swiftly comes the arrow. Compassion, you plead as though they kept it in a box that's long since been empty. I'd like to help you somehow, but I'm in the self-same spot. My condition exempts me. We are all on the run, on our knees. The sundial draws a line upon eternity across every number. How long the time seems, how dark the shadow, how straight the eagle flies, how straight towards his arrow. How long the night is. Why is this passage so narrow? How strange my body feels, impaled upon the arrow. The next one is a long piece, both on record and spoken, and a large part of it resides in dreams. So there's no sense line that can be drawn all the way down through the words, but one simply has to accept them. This is flight. I always forget how crazy things are, so sometimes it catches me off my guard when they make sense. The line on the road trails the arrow in the sky. I search for the mote in my brother's eye beneath the pence. Still uncertain when I've woken, or what constitutes a conscious mind, though the thought remains unspoken, I know I'm flying blind. Breaking into cold sweat on the white-hot coals, the pennies from heaven drop through my soul. It don't relent. At the back end of dreams, I'm amazed to awake. I offer my theories, but I just can't shake that seventh sense, to which there's no defense. It seemed the time was for action. It seemed so cool to be that kind. My tongue groped to form some retraction, but I knew I was flying blind. I want things to be fast, down to the power dive. I want the zero-gravity heroes to play dead but stay alive. I want things to be slow all the way to stall. We talk about 1,000 things that never change at all. It never changed, it never changed, it never changed. It was then that I knew I'd been thoughtless. Something had slipped my mind. I'd strapped myself into the fortress, but the fortress was flying blind. We had full clearance, so someone down there ought to know the truth of our disappearance, if even that still shows. It accuses and blames me, but nothing was quite what it seemed. Sometimes things work out so strangely that it might as well all be dreamed. The white cane, fandango, in Morse code, try to shake through a message, shake the load. Only venial sin running on the spot till the dance begins. Where does a man go when the muscles cramp? Try to write out a postcard on a postage stamp with a drawing pin punching out the braille. For the hole within, upset the contango on your future stock. Paying backwardation, hold on to what you've got. Such a sideways grin. Someday you may need to trade that in. If we ride this right, the future will fall in our hands. If we survive the flight, the future will work out. Nothing's that black and white. The color-coded charts are spread, but we're still gliding deep into the red. The radio is dead, every valve blown open. The radar screen flicks monochrome. Air traffic controller wants to get on home. He's waiting for a phone call to release him from responsibility. Nobody goes to see him anymore except for the man from the ministry. He wanted to be the man in control, in command of the flight path. He's flying a chair, quite beyond control. He's going to have just one more chance at a barrel roll. All in a dream. All as a dream. The colors too bright. The music too deafening. The blackout world has just begun to show these cracked out words I offer. But I still don't know. Cool blue suffuse the color gun. Oh, come in, number one. Your time's nearly run. Speed freeze the frame. The present and the past hold fast. Too fast. These things won't last. The rolling dice clash together, never make up the score. That old device, the ejector seat glued to the floor. Everybody waits for everyone to make a show. No one wants to be the first, admitting that they know how anything that's gone down here could fit into an automatic groove. Wait for the tactical move. Wait for some action we all can approve. Too much to drink, for the cup reaches down to the sea. Too much to think, the barometer pressuring me, rolling down the weather for an Easter parade, reeling out the Maydays in the hope of being saved, but the radio ham's out giving blood. No, he's not even listening. The cricketer knows his wisdom, the pilot has got his James, but the sum of his factual wisdom don't help us to fly the plane. Beneath the tartan two-piece something rips undone. Wait for the ladder to run. Wait for the snake that the ladder becomes. A passenger hits the cockpit, willing to chance his game, pulls out his gun and cocks it in the hope that it all might change, but it never will. A fly leaf from the library shows others have been here before, tried, failed, kicked out the door. The air crew don't care anymore. No, they just wait for the beat of the silkworm wing, wait for the heat to come down on us. Full force of the law, gravity, pulls us down. I'd be better off out of there. Aerobatics spin around. I'll take my chances in the open air. Sycamore silkworm wings. Or Roman candle to the ground. There's only one thing for sure. When the balloon goes up, the aeronaut calms down. And he says nothing is quite what it seems. He says nothing is quite what it seems. I say nothing is nothing. Softly, the angel There's something in everything, if you can only pin down its name. Aerobatic thoughts at the back of my mind. Is it nothing but the looping line we all follow? Nothing but the spiral twist of DNA? There'll be no looking back from tomorrow on today. So the wire is tripped. Split seconds defect from their successors. The umbilical cord is ripped. And here we all are in free fall. I stole where I am, as if to see where I've been, only running down the looping line we all follow, only chasing round the spiral twist of DNA. There can be no looking on to tomorrow from today. Life, death, night, day, cold breath will surely fly away. Is the empire of sensation locked in a black box deep in me, encoded there somehow? It fires the imagination to fly on a wing and a prayer through my life. Is that what it is? This is now, which will be then. Is this the means? All I know for sure is this is the end. No looking back from tomorrow. No looking on from today. Well, the theme is the eve of 1984, so I hope you'll forgive my characteristic linguistic jokes if the next little piece, all in the words of the Adam of 1984, and these are all Orwell's. There are other characters here, but for me, although I'm sometimes accused of being blank, my general concerns are for the individual, and these are the words of the individuals in the novel 1984. Do it to Julia. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it to Julia! We are the dead. We are the dead.
You are the dead.
It was behind the picture.
It was behind the picture.
Do it to Julia! I will arise. In the depths, I will open my eyes. As my breath almost fails me, survive. Wait. There's something unclear. There's something I fear. Now drawing close. Could it be me? Whose is that voice? Is it now time to make a choice? Ow! That irrational pain. This ridiculous brain now bursts with joy. Could it be me? Could it be now? Is it now time to take my vows? I will return. As I live, as I breathe, as I burn, I swear I will come through. With my hands stretching out to the dark, with my eye pressed up tight to the glass, wondering if it's all been true. I've done one thing by somebody else so well. This is by Edgar Allan Poe. Set. The lady sleeps, oh may her sleep, as it is lasting so. melancholy, I pray to God that she may lie forever with an open eye, while the dim sheeted ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps, oh may her sleep as it is lasting, so be deep, surrounded by the crested poles of her grand family
This evening was written back in 1978 by John Geist, and it was the first made-for-radio piece that we had done at that time, and it's set to a story by H.P. Lovecraft called The Music of Erich Zann, and here to narrate the music of Erich Zann is Peter Hammill. Please welcome Peter Hammill.
I've examined maps of the city with the greatest care, yet have never again found the Rue d'Orsay. These maps have not been modern maps alone, for I know that names change. I have, on the contrary, delved deeply into all the antiquities of the place, and have personally explored every region of whatever name which could possibly answer to the street I knew as the Rue d'Orsay. But despite all I have done, it remains an humiliating fact that I cannot find the house, the street, or even the locality where during the last months of my impoverished life as a student of metaphysics at the university, I heard the music of Erich Zann. That my memory is broken, I do not wonder, for my health, physical and mental, was gravely disturbed throughout the period of my residence in the Rue d'Orsay. But that I cannot find the place again is both singular and perplexing, for it was within a half-hour's walk of the university, and was distinguished by peculiarities which could hardly be forgotten by anyone who had been there. Yet, I have never met a person who has seen the Rue d'Orsay. The Rue d'Orsay lay across a dark river, bordered by precipitous brick blear-windowed warehouses, and spanned by a ponderous bridge of dark stone. It was always shadowy along that river, as if the smoke of neighboring factories shut out the sun perpetually. The river was also odorous with evil stenches which I have never smelled elsewhere, and which may someday help me to find it, since I should recognize them at once. Beyond the bridge were narrow cobbled streets with rails, and then came the ascent, at first gradual, but incredibly steep as the Rue d'Orsay was reached. I have never seen another street as narrow and steep as the Rue d'Orsay. It was almost a cliff, closed to all vehicles, consisting in several places of flights of steps, and ending at the top in a lofty ivied wall. Its paving was irregular, sometimes stone slabs, sometimes cobblestones, and sometimes bare earth with struggling greenish-grey vegetation. The houses were tall, peaked-roofed, incredibly old, and crazily leaning backward, forward, and sideways. Occasionally, an opposite pair, both leaning forward, almost met across the street like an arch, and certainly they kept most of the light from the ground below. The inhabitants of the street impressed me. At first, I thought it was because they were all silent and reticent, but later I decided it was because they were all very old. I do not know how I came to live on such a street, but I was not myself when I moved there. I had been living in many poor places, always evicted for want of money, until at last I came upon that tottering house in the Rue d'Aussay, kept by the paralytic Blandin. It was the third house from the top of the street, and by far the tallest of them all. My room was on the 5th story, the only inhabited room there, since the house was almost empty. On the night I arrived, I heard strange music from the peaked garret overhead, and the next day asked old Blando about it. He told me it was an old German viol player, a strange, dumb man who signed his name as Erich Zann, and who played evenings in a cheap theatre orchestra, adding that Zann's desire to play in the night after his return from the theatre was the reason he had chosen this lofty and isolated garret room, whose single gable window was the only point on the street from which one could look over the terminating wall at the declivity and panorama beyond. Thereafter, I heard Zann every night, and although he kept me awake, I was haunted by the weirdness of his music. Knowing little of the art myself, I was yet certain that none of his harmonies had any relation to music I had heard before. The longer I listened, the more I was fascinated, until after a week, I resolved to make the old man's acquaintance. One night, as he was returning from his work, I intercepted Zann in the hallway and told him that I would like to know him and be with him when he played. He was a small, lean, bent person with shabby clothes, blue eyes, grotesque satyr-like face, and nearly bald head. And at my first words seemed both angered and frightened. My obvious friendliness, however, finally melted him, and he grudgingly motioned me to follow him up the dark, creaking, and rickety attic stairs. His room, one of only two in the steeply pitched garret, was on the west side, toward the high wall that formed the upper end of the street. Its size was very great, and seemed the greater because of the extraordinary barrenness and neglect. Of furniture, there was only a narrow iron bedstead, a dingy washstand, a small table, a large bookcase, an iron music rack, and 3 old-fashioned chairs. Sheets of music were piled in disorder about the floor. The walls were of bare boards and had probably never known plaster, whilst the abundance of dust and cobwebs made the place seem more deserted than inhabited. Evidently, Erich Zann's world of beauty lay in some far cosmos of the imagination. Motioning me to sit down, the dumb man closed the door, turned the large wooden bolt, and lighted a candle to augment the one he had brought with him. He now removed his viol from its moth-eaten covering, and taking it, seated himself in the least uncomfortable of the chairs. Playing from memory, he enchanted me for over an hour with strains I had never heard before, strains which must have been of his own devising. To describe their exact nature is impossible for one unversed in music. But to me, they were notable for the absence of any of the weird notes I had overheard from my room below on other occasions. Those haunting notes I had remembered, and had often hummed or whistled inaccurately to myself. When the player at length laid down his bow, I asked him if he would render something. As I began my request, the wrinkled, satyr-like face lost the bored placidity it had possessed during the playing, and seemed to show the same curious mixture of anger and fright which I noticed when first I accosted the old man. For a moment, I was inclined to use persuasion, regarding rather lightly the whims of senility, and even tried to awaken my host's weirdo mood by whistling a few of the strains to which I had listened the night before. But I did not pursue this course for more than a moment, for when the dumb musician recognized the whistle there, his face grew suddenly distorted with an expression wholly beyond analysis, and his long, cold and bony right hand reached out to stop my mouth and silence the crude imitation. As he did this, he further demonstrated his eccentricity by casting a startled glance toward the lone curtained window as if fearful of some intruder. A glance doubly absurd, since the garret stood high and inaccessible above all the adjacent roofs, this window being the only point on the steep street, as the concierge had told me, from which one could see over the wall at the summit. The old man's glance brought Blando's remark to my mind, and with a certain capriciousness, I felt a wish to look out over the wide and dizzying panorama of moonlit roofs and city lights beyond the hilltop, which of all the dwellers in the Rue d'Auseil, only this crabbed musician could see. I moved toward the window, and would have drawn aside the nondescript curtains, when with a frightened rage even greater than before, the dumb lodger was upon me again, this time motioning me with his head toward the door as he nervously strove to drag me thither with both hands. Now, thoroughly disgusted with my host, I ordered him to release me, and told him I would go at once. His clutch relaxed, and as he saw my disgust and offense, his own anger seemed to subside. He tightened his relaxing grip, but this time in a friendly manner, forcing me into a chair. Then, with an appearance of wistfulness, crossed to the littered table, where he wrote many words with a pencil, in the laboured French of a foreigner. The note which he finally handed me was an appeal for tolerance and forgiveness. Zann said that he was old, lonely, and afflicted with strange fears and nervous disorders connected with his music and with other things. He had enjoyed my listening to his music and wished I would come again and not mind his eccentricities. But he could not play to another his weird harmonies, and could not bear hearing them from another. Nor could he bear having anything in his room touched by another. He had not known until our hallway conversation that I could overhear his playing in my room, and now asked me if I would arrange with Blando to take a lower room where I could not hear him in the night. He would, he wrote, defray the difference in rent. As I sat deciphering the execrable French, I felt more lenient toward the old man. He was a victim of physical and nervous suffering, as was I, and my metaphysical studies had taught me kindness. In the silence, there came a slight sound from the window. The shutter must have rattled in the night wind, and for some reason, I started almost as violently as did Erich Zann. So, when I had finished reading, I shook my host by the hand and departed as a friend. The next day, Blando gave me a more expensive room on the third floor, between the apartments of an aged moneylender and the room of a respectable upholsterer. There was no one on the fourth floor. It was not long before I found that Zann's eagerness for my company was not as great as it had seemed while he was persuading me to move down from the 5th story. He did not ask me to call on him, and when I did call, he appeared uneasy and played listlessly. This was always at night. In the day he slept and would admit no one. My liking for him did not grow, though the attic room and the weird music seemed to hold an odd fascination for me. I had a curious desire to look out of that window, over the wall and down the unseen slope, at the glittering roofs and spires which must lie outspread there. Once, I went up the garret during theatre hours, when Zann was away, but the door was locked. Which would have led me to doubt my own shaking sanity had there not come from behind that barred portal a piteous proof that the horror was real, the awful inarticulate cry which only a mute can utter and which rises only in moments of the most terrible fear and anguish. I knocked repeatedly at the door but received no response. I waited in the black hallway, shivering with cold and fear, till I heard the poor musician's feeble effort to rise from the floor by the aid of a chair. Believing him just conscious after a fainting fit, I renewed my rapping at the same time, calling out my name reassuringly. I heard Zann stumble to the window and close both shutter and sash, then stumble to the door, which he falteringly unfastened to admit me. This time, his delight at having me present was real, for his distorted face gleamed with relief while he clutched at my coat as a child clutches at his mother's skirts. Shaking pathetically, the old man forced me into a chair whilst he sank into another, beside which the viol and bow lay carelessly on the floor. He sat for some time inactive, nodding oddly, but having a paradoxical suggestion of intense and frightened listening. Subsequently, he seemed to be satisfied, and crossing to a chair by the table, wrote a brief note, handed it to me, and returned to the table where he began to write rapidly and incessantly. The note implored me, in the name of mercy, and for the sake of my own curiosity, to wait where I was, while he prepared a full account in German of all the marvels and terrors which beset him. I waited, and the dumb man's pencil flew. It was perhaps an hour later, while I still waited, and while the old musician's feverishly written sheets still continued to pile up, that I saw Zann start as from the hint of a horrible shock. Unmistakably, he was looking at the curtained window and listening shudderingly. Then I half fancied I heard a sound myself, though it was not a horrible sound, but rather an exquisitely low and infinitely distant musical note, suggesting a player in one of the neighbouring houses, or in some abode beyond the lofty wall over which I had never been able to look. Zann, the effect was terrible. But dropping his pencil, suddenly he rose, seized his viol, and commenced to rend the night with the wildest playing I had ever heard. It would be useless to describe the playing of Erich Zann on that dreadful night. It was more horrible than anything I had ever overheard, because I could now see the expression of his face, and could realize that this time the motive was stark fear. Trying to make a noise, to ward something off, or drown something out. What? I could not imagine, awesome though I felt it must be. The playing grew fantastic, delirious, and hysterical. The player was dripping with an uncanny perspiration and twisted like a monkey, always looking frantically at the curtained window. In his frenzied strains, I could almost see shadowy satyrs and bacchanals dancing and wheeling insanely through seething abysses of cloud and smoke and lightning. The shutter began to rattle in a howling night wind, which had sprung up outside as if in answer to the mad playing within. Zann's screaming viol now outdid itself, emitting sounds I had never thought a viol could emit. The shutter rattled more loudly, unfastened, and commenced slamming against the window. Then the glass broke shiveringly under the persistent impacts, and the chill wind rushed in, making the candles sputter and rustling the sheets of paper on the table where Zann had begun to write out his horrible secret. I looked at Zann and saw that he was past conscious observation. His blue eyes were bulging, glassy and sightless, and the frantic playing had become a blind, mechanical, unrecognizable orgy. A sudden gust, stronger than the others, caught up the manuscript and bore it toward the window. I followed the flying sheets in desperation, but they were gone before I reached the demolished plains. And when I reached the window, it was very dark, but the city's lights always burned, and I expected to see them there amidst the rain and wind. Yet, when I looked from that highest of all gable windows, looked while the candles sputtered and the insane viol howled with the night wind, I saw no city spread below, and no friendly lights gleamed from remembered streets. Only the blackness of space illimitable. Unimagined space, alive with motion and music, and having no semblance of anything on earth. And as I stood there looking in terror, the wind blew out both the candles in that ancient deep garret, leaving me in savage and impenetrable darkness with chaos and pandemonium before me, and the demon madness of that night-baying viol behind me. I staggered back in the dark, without the means of striking a light, crashing against the table, overturning a chair, and finally groping my way to the place where the blackness screamed with shocking music. To save myself and Erich Zann, I could at least try, whatever the power opposed to me. Once, I thought some chill thing brushed me, and I screamed, but my scream could not be heard above the hideous viol. Suddenly, out of the blackness, the madly sawing bow struck me, and I knew that I was close to the player. I felt ahead, touched the back of Zann's chair, and then found and shook his shoulder in an effort to bring him to his senses. He did not respond, and still the viol shrieked on without slacking. I moved my hand to his head, whose mechanical nodding I was able to stop, and shouted in his ear that we must both flee from the unknown things of the night. But he neither answered me, nor abated the frenzy of his unutterable music, while all through the garret strange currents of wind seemed to dance in the darkness and label. When my hand touched his ear, I shuddered, though I knew not why till I felt of the still face, the ice-cold, stiff and unbreathing face whose glassy eyes bulged uselessly into the void. And then, by some miracle, finding the door of the large bolt, I plunged wildly away from that glassy-eyed thing in the dark, and from the ghoulish howling of that accursed viol, whose fury increased even as I plunged, leaping, floating, flying down those endless stairs, through the dark house, racing mindlessly out into the narrow, steep and ancient street of steps, and tottering houses, clattering down steps and over cobbles to the lower streets, and the putrid galleon-walled river, panting across the dark bridge. and that the moon was out, and that all the lights of the city twinkled. Despite my most careful searches and investigations, I have never since been able to find a Rue d'Orsay. But I am not wholly sorry, either for this or for the loss in undreamable abysses of the closely written sheets, which alone could have explained the music of Erich Zann.
Merci, merci beaucoup. C'est le festival musical et littéraire en même temps, donc j'ai décidé de jouer des chansons un petit peu plus vers littéraire. Moi, j'aime bien littérature et les paroles, mais voilà, les 5 premières chansons. I'm going to stop speaking I'm going to stop speaking English now, so I can be exact. Those 5 songs were particularly literary in one way or another in their scene setting or what have you, or have some other continuity, or at least exist in the land that I think is particular about songs where something is happening and the sense is exact and the sense is also somehow within the tune and within the words, and it makes sense because it doesn't make sense. I'm going to read a few things, some of which are my lyrics, and I'll speak about reading lyrics in a moment or so, but these things also make sense because they don't make sense. The first is a little short story by Julio Cortázar, which is called, and I really don't know why, Continuity of Past.